Steven Stumpf of Frontstretch here with Parker Kligerman here at Kansas Speedway, heading into his final playoff opener and final full-time season with Big Machine Racing. Parker, talk about the decision that you made to retire, or just retire from full-time driving. What was the reason? Why did you feel like it was time?
I don't know if there's any one specific thing. I think with decisions like this, it's a multitude of different things, right, that add up, and then you say, hey, I think I'm good. And it really came down to that. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. I feel very at peace with it. I've never been so relaxed in my entire life as I have the last 2 weeks. So relaxed. I've slept a ton, and I was like, was something wrong? But no, I think it's, this is all I've ever chased for over a decade and a half, or 22 years, basically, since I first stepped in a go-kart. I wanted to do this. And I know in 6 weeks, or 7 with this week, I'm shutting that off for the first time in my life. So, but I'm at peace with it. I think this was a really cool opportunity. Thank you to Scott and Sandy Borchetta for the opportunity, and Spike Coolers and everyone who made it happen, because it let me come to peace with this that I wouldn't have been ready to do 2-3 years ago, right? So in the end, it's been, made the decision, took the leap, and we'll see what's on the other side.
You talk about being at peace, content now. Kind of describe just how your mindset has changed just from starting your career full-time in ARCA to the part-time years to now. Just kind of how have you changed as a driver but also a person?
Yeah, I mean, person. I did a lot of growing up in front of the public eye and in front of race teams and that sort of thing, and I can think to, my time at Penske. I say I didn't go to college, but I went to the Penske College because that's basically the age I was when I was there. And you do a lot of growing up in that time period, right? And, how fortunate was I to be exposed to people like Roger Penske, but also, make mistakes in front of a really important, great organization was not the right place, right thing to do, but you grow up, you learn from that. And in my part-time days, I always was trying to get back to this. So, that's why I made sure to say pursuing full-time, because even when I wasn't, my mind was thinking, how do I get there? Like, how do we make it happen? You're always working and trying to sell sponsorship and do all these behind-the-scenes things and networking and meeting teams and jumping to ride and, sacrificing every personal life thing to just make this happen. And so I don't regret it at all. I think it's been an amazing journey. I have, absolutely loved this game. I love this game more than anything in the world. But I'm ready to, see what's next in life, and I've played it for a long time. I've been very lucky to do that.
I know you have one. I feel like you probably answered this, but I know you've been wanting to win an Xfinity race for a while. Will you be at peace with whatever happens in these last 7 races, or will there just be that part that'll just sting? Man, I wish we could have got one.
I'd love to. I think, I'm not putting any extra pressure to make it happen. We've been so damn close. If we just keep doing what we've been doing, I think the opportunity is there to make it happen. I think it could happen today. Honestly, we have a car, in my opinion, that's top 5 car that we can go win this race. So it's, I want to make it happen, but I'm not putting that pressure on myself. And I feel the same way about the Championship 4. I want to get to the Championship 4. I want to do that. That's an amazing accomplishment to me for this race team. And if we can make that happen, I would be over the moon. If we don't, just having a successful 7 races, similar to what we've done all year, would make me just as happy.
With kind of the pressure off, do you kind of feel like just preparing for the playoffs, preparing for this week, is there like more of a sense of calmness, heading into this?
I don't want to say calmer, but definitely, at least for me, yeah. I'm a very high-strung person. I operate at a very high heart rate and everything, and I will tell you, I've been the most relaxed I've ever been in my life. So that's wild, but still put in the same amount of effort and work, right? Even more than a year prior, because I now know what to expect. I know how to allocate my time better, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm going after this as if it was the first one ever, because I want to go win this championship and make the Championship 4, and we have that opportunity here at Big Machine Racing. So that would be spectacular. But I think it goes back to, your original questions about being calm. Just really at peace. I'm really, really at peace with the decision and with, my career as a whole and what I've done in the sport and the opportunities I've had. And I'm very thankful to, have this chance to end it right at the, precipice of our series here and at the pointy end, trying to race for a championship. That's such a cool thing. I just want to go get it done.
What will you miss? What will you miss the most of running full time each year? What were the things you'll definitely miss? Yeah,
I think it's the groove of doing this week to week, and you show up and it compounds when you're doing well, and working with all these guys on this team. In terms of just having that camaraderie and working towards a specific goal and knowing that everyone's putting everything they have into it, and you start to see, like, you put in effort and you start to see results so quickly, right? It's every weekend you're mark to market, essentially, as they say in the investment world, and we have that. We get that often, so you get to see how things are working so quickly, and I love that. But and I just, at the end of the day, I love driving race cars, and so there's nothing cooler than doing a qualifying lap up next to the wall like we did earlier today, and watching that all go down, and then having to just decide to do a qualifying lap and something we haven't done here yet. I hadn't run a lap like that ever here, so that's really cool. I'll miss that for sure. And I think the other part is, like, when you're younger, you're always moving up the ladder, right? Like, you're going up, and it's always what's next. And for the first time, my life, I can think, like, for racing wise, it's like not what's next. So that's a bit of a transition, and I do miss that, like, always going to the next thing and moving up. But hopefully there'll be that opportunity in the next chapter of my life and whatever we go into. But I think just working with the guys and just being a part of a team that's trying to go after trophies and do big things is such a cool feeling.
On the other hand, what will you not miss?
Well, I don't know how much I'll be on the schedule, but the schedule is on the flip side. The schedule is pretty brutal. So that, plus I've really been having to balance my time between Charlotte and Connecticut for the last 5-6 years, actually 7 or 8 years. Because I went back and started more of a life up there, and my girlfriend's up there and everything, and so it was never had the stability down here we're in Kansas right now, but in Charlotte, or with the opportunities ride-wise to make that full move and to, like, commit that level. And so that the back and forth between Charlotte, sometimes day trips, sometimes 3-5 times a week. I mean, I've done it all. That part, let's put it this way: I know specific flight attendants on American Airlines flights between Charlotte and New York. So I've spent a lot of time in those flights. I still will, I'm sure, in my next life. But that part is that's pretty brutal. And then the only other thing I'd say is, like, man, you always are going to have this in life no matter what you do, but the idea of, like, just the amount of mind share this takes from sun up to sundown in terms of chasing sponsorship dollars and putting these operations together and trying to build on those. It's such a massive endeavor, and that's the part that why I felt like I had to make a decision at some point. Was you got to turn that off at some point and maybe apply it somewhere else. But it's such an undertaking that people don't see. That it's the 99% of the stuff they don't see that's such a large undertaking that if you're not ready to commit that level, then you shouldn't be here. And I think I'm finally good with not being at that level.
Up next year is the brand new TV deals for all 3 series. You've done a bunch of pit reporting in the past. Is there any new news you have to share in terms of what you'll be doing on that side next year?
I don't know. Nothing yet. So stay tuned.
And I talked to you at Darlington about the excitement of Lime Rock Park being on the schedule as co-owner. When I asked you if you were going to try and run that next year, you said we'll see, not sure, but you'll now have the schedule to do so. So is that basically just a 100% priority next year?
Oh yeah, I got to be in that race. I'll be there no matter what. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm going to be there. The Lime Rock leadership team has been so great, or so gracious in commending me on making it happen, that sort of thing, which I've been very flattered. But I do feel responsible a little bit for that race. I think I'll continue to be more intertwined. But yeah, I want to race in it. I've got a lot of great people reaching out, wanting to make it happen. So I feel pretty confident that will happen. And yeah, I think there's just this place near and dear to my heart. I got to be there. I got to see this. I think it's gonna be the biggest event in Lime Rock history. So it's so cool to see this happening and to get a top 3 NASCAR race there.
Getting into the ownership there, did all this kind of come about just with how many trips you did between North Carolina and Connecticut all those years?
What do you mean
just with how how much you were going back home, back to Connecticut? Did that kind of at least give you a bigger standing with that track?
No. I think it's just really that was the place. I was pretty entwined with that place early on, in terms of just that's where I first saw racing in person. First place I drove a race car. First race I ever won in a race car, which was my first race. Just put that out there. But, yeah, and I've gone up there a million times afterwards doing automotive stuff with Jalopnik and the Autopian and my YouTube, and I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff up there on my YouTube. So I love that place. It's so beautiful. It's got to be one of the most top 3 beautiful tracks in the world, possibly. And whenever people come up there, it's like a beautiful park that happens to be a racetrack. And so it's just been near and dear to me. And then really the way the connection happened was it was a loose family friend of my dad's who was running the group that took it over. And he just reached out and said, "Hey, would Parker be interested?" You know, he's there's not many of us from Connecticut in the top level of American motorsports, and so you know I was very flattered and jumped to the opportunity, and I feel very grateful to be a part of it, and I feel really flattered that you know I've been able to be just a small piece of making something big happen there.
Hoping to be involved in that race in some capacity next year, but since you only closed the door on full-time racing, not part-time, how much or how little of part-time racing do you hope to have next year?
It's a good question. I really don't know. I don't think a large amount. I think if I was above 10 races, that'd be aggressive. But somewhere underneath there is probably the right amount for me. In between trucks and then there's an opportunity to do some Rolex stuff, which would be cool. If we can make that happen, I've always wanted to do sports cars, especially the endurance races. So if that can happen, that'd be cool. And that's my thing, is to also just go experience motorsports the world over. I've been able to sort of experience it from afar, but I want to go. This is such a diverse sport. It comes in so many shapes, forms, sizes, styles, smells, sounds, that it's just in every culture it's different. And I want to go explore that and experience those things. And I love motorsports to the day I die. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's my passion. I've been lucky enough to make it a career, and I don't plan on changing that. I will be as entwined in motorsports for as long as the sport will have me.
For Big Machine next year, Nick Sanchez will be taking over this car full time. Did you have any role or decision in picking him to drive next year?
No, but I think obviously he has history here. He did a great job at the end of 2022. He's doing a great job in the trucks. I think it's a really has already a relationship with all these guys. So I think it's a great fit for them, and it's a big opportunity for him. And hopefully he can take it to the next level. I told him he can have the keys in 7 weeks, but I'll try to keep the cars as clean as possible till then. Hopefully they're covered in confetti after Phoenix, and we've got a championship trophy. But I think we've done over since he's last been here. This whole race team just in so many facets has improved, from processes to just how we operate as a race team and decision making, the things we've learned. So I think he's walking into a really great situation that hopefully, as I said, he can take it to the next level. And nothing would make me happier than seeing them win races and become the full fruition of what we tried to do here at Big Machine Racing.
And looking ahead to the race later today and the rest of the first round, you've been great at super speedways, you've been great at road courses, but that said, they can also be the wild card. So how kind of chaotic do you foresee this first round, and to that extent, how important is getting off on the right footing here?
Hopefully it's chaos for everyone else. We'll take a real smooth round. That'd be fine. I think even being 12 points out to start, we're still in a really good position, because that's just a stage, right? And if we just do what we've done for the better part of the last 6 months in terms of average finish, I mean, we're top 5 in average finish, a little more stage points, I see no reason we can't advance on points. But Talladega is obviously an opportunity to win. I think today's an opportunity to win. Roval's an opportunity to win. We'll balance that, but we got to be smart. And like my qualifying lap today, we qualified 8th. Was there more to be had in 1 and 2 if I was more aggressive, getting back to the throttle, that sort of thing? Yes, but when you're in this position, we just got to be, and Patrick said it multiple times, we just got to do what we do, and that's be smart and race our race, let the others make the mistakes. And if we do that for the next 3 races, not only do I think there's a trophy out there for us, but 2, I think we easily move on to the next round. And then all bets are off in round 8, because you got to win 1, you're in the championship 4. So let's go make it happen.
For the last couple of dozen races, is there kind of some bittersweetness knowing that these could potentially be your last trips to these tracks?
A little bit. I mean, I try not to think about it. So, it seeps in at moments, like when the national anthem's happening, it definitely seeps in. I might have teared up a little bit at Watkins Glen, but I'd say I can't let that in too much, because it's like I got to focus and give us, the best opportunity to go out there and perform. And I feel like we're doing that, and we've had some of our best performances just in the last couple of months, and so it's definitely there. But I tell you, everyone, like, I'm sure it's starting to feel more real, but it won't until the checkered flag falls at Phoenix, and suddenly I'm like, oh wait, that's it. And we'll see. It might hit me when I least expect it, but I try to just focus right now, and it's only natural and human to think like, oh yeah, this is the last time we might be here or there or whatever, but it's I've been going to these things for over 15 years or almost 16 years to all these tracks and doing this. And my first Xfinity start was here in 2009, won the pole that day. and it's wild to think it's flown by so quickly, but here we are.
That was all the questions I had. Is there anything else you'd like to add for all the fans that will be watching this video at home?
Yeah, just, thank you so much. I said it in my, announcement there that, I'm so grateful and appreciative to all the fans that have made this possible because, when you get into this sort of thing, you're not sure how you'll be received, but you want to do the best you can and try to be a good person, and I've tried to do that and give every single person that's ever asked for an autograph or time, the time of day, and I'll continue to do that, obviously, but, thank you to them because they're the only reason any of this exists in the first place, and I love this game. I love all of it. I love every part of it, and I hope to hopefully be, as I said, involved and still seeing a lot of those fans here in the future.
All right, well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, bud.
I'm Caleb Barnes with Frontstretch.com. Come back soon for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.